All right, let's talk about a powerful, almost secret mental tool. It's something that explains why we sometimes have these absolutely massive emotional meltdowns over the tiniest little things. It's called the Hysterical is Historical Protocol. And trust me, it's a game changer for taking back control when your emotions are trying to hijack you. Let's dive in. So, why is it? Why do we sometimes lose complete control over the smallest, most ridiculous things? You know the feeling, right? You're having a perfectly fine day, and then one tiny thing, something that shouldn't even matter, just sets you off. You completely snap. It happens to everyone. But the real question is, what's actually going on under the hood? Yeah, exactly this. It's the forgotten chore that suddenly feels like a personal betrayal. The text message, it's 5 minutes late and now you're spiraling. You take a wrong turn and it feels like the end of the world. A tiny, minor issue suddenly explodes into this full-blown emotional crisis. And then afterwards, you're left sitting there thinking, what was that all about? Why did I react like that? Deep down, the reaction was way, way too big for what just happened. Okay, so this gets us to our first major concept, the out-of-scale reaction, or as I like to think of it, when the punishment doesn't fit the crime. This is all about when our emotional response is just completely out of whack with the thing that triggered it. And spotting this imbalance, that's your first step to taking back power. So here's the absolute core of the mystery. Your emotional reaction is completely, wildly out of sync with what's happening in the present moment. It's a 2 out of 10 problem, but you're giving it a 10 out of 10 emotional meltdown. Now, when you spot that gap, that massive difference, that's not just you being in a bad mood. No, that's data. That's a huge clue that something much, much deeper is going on. Which leads us to the million-dollar question. If the trigger itself is so small, where is all that extra emotional fuel coming from? I mean, it has to come from somewhere, right? If the current situation can't explain that tidal wave of anger or sadness, then it's being pumped in from some other hidden reservoir. And that brings us here, a ghost from the past. We're about to uncover the real source. Because that hidden reservoir, well, it's almost always located in one place, your past. You think you're mad about the spilled coffee, but you're not. You're actually fighting a ghost from a long, long time ago. See, these powerful, overwhelming emotions, they have almost nothing to do with what's happening right now. They're just echoes, ghosts. They're coming from an older, unresolved wound. Think of it like this. Today's tiny little problem is like a tuning fork. It just happens to vibrate at the exact same frequency as some old injury, and that vibration brings all that old pain, all that old anger roaring back into the present. And this right here, this is the core principle. The hysterical is historical. It's a simple rule. Whenever you see a disproportionate, over-the-top, just plain hysterical emotional reaction in the present, you can bet the fuel for that fire is coming from an unresolved experience in the past. The present moment, it's just the stage. The play itself is an old one. Let's make this super concrete. Look at these examples. In the present, your partner is just distracted by their phone. Annoying, sure, but why does it feel so devastating? Because that trigger connects to a much deeper wound from the past, maybe feeling totally ignored or unseen as a kid. Or look at this one. Your boss gives you some minor critical feedback. On the surface, it's nothing, but it plugs right into that old wound, that constant feeling of never being good enough. And finally, plans getting canceled. It's a bummer, but for some, it taps right into the profound pain of being abandoned or forgotten. You see how it works? The tiny trigger is just the key that unlocks this huge vault of old pain. Okay, theory is great, but how do you actually use this? This is where we get practical. Let's break down the simple 3-step protocol for decoding this emotional data as it's happening. It's a 3-step process, super simple. Step 1, spot the imbalance. This is just self-awareness. You have to recognize, whoa, my reaction is a 10 out of 10, but the thing that just happened was maybe a 2. Just see the gap. Step 2, identify the ghost. This is where you pause, take a breath, and ask yourself a powerful question. What does this feeling remind me of? What older, deeper feeling is this connected to? You're basically hunting for the original source of the emotion. And finally, step 3, and this is crucial, separate then from now. You have to consciously draw a line in the sand. Tell yourself, okay, that old feeling of abandonment or not being good enough, that belongs to the past. This thing, right here, right now, it's different. It's smaller. It's manageable. Now, a really important warning here. This tool is a mirror, not a weapon. This is not for you to go around diagnosing your friends, your partner, or your coworkers. You don't get to say, aha, your hysterical reaction is clearly historical. No, this is about you. It's about treating your own emotional reactions as valuable, crucial data about your own operating system. And this leads to the ultimate payoff: control, not chaos. Because when you stop being a victim of your emotions and start becoming an analyst of your emotional data, everything changes. You move from chaotic reaction to conscious control. This insight isn't just some neat psychological trick, it is a source of genuine power. This says it all, really. Stop reacting to the drama. Start analyzing the data. That's the fundamental shift. You're no longer an actor swept up in the scene, you're the director, watching from the sidelines, analyzing what's actually happening. You take that crucial step back, and in that space, you find control. So what's the strategic advantage here? Oh, it's huge. First, you can disengage from manipulation. You start to see when people, whether they mean to or not, are pushing those old buttons to get a reaction. You can sidestep pointless arguments because you'll realize, oh, we're not fighting about the dishes, we're fighting about something from 1998. You learn to defend your emotional state, to maintain your personal sovereignty. And most importantly, you finally understand your own triggers on a deep, deep level. Because in the end, that's what this is all about. The ultimate power of this protocol isn't just about understanding other people or navigating social situations better. It's about achieving true self-mastery. It's about finally getting a handle on your own internal world, understanding why you feel what you feel. And that, right there, is the foundation of everything. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you feel that wave of overwhelming, out-of-scale emotions start to rise, I want you to stop and ask yourself, whose script am I following right now? Is it mine, or is it one that was written for me by a ghost a long, long time ago? Because once you see the script, you no longer have to read the lines. You get to write your own.